Welcome to ROWE SHOW. In today's episode, I interview a very talented, very natural-sounding stand-up comedian. He's an up-and-comer. His name is Matt Ross, who I first originally knew from the stand-up comedy scene out here in South Florida. He's since moved to Texas. And sometimes you can just tell which local comedians are going to end up being famous because of their stage presence and their jokes, but also their dedication to the game. Matt moved out to Austin, Texas from South Florida, and Austin's the new comedy mecca that blew up when Joe Rogan led an exodus out of LA during COVID lockdowns. It used to be that if you were serious about making it in show business, you'd move to LA, but then you're in LA. Now, serious comedians go to Austin, Texas, which I'd submit is a hell of a lot more fun, and you even get to experience freedom and know that it's unlikely that it'll be taken away. Anyway, I caught up with Matt Ross in Austin at the legendary Creek in the Cave, where he let me pop on his show and do some time. And then we sat down and we shot that shit and in the Creek in the Cave studio. And he talked about what it's like going from facing life challenges in Oklahoma to risking everything to follow his passion of stand-up comedy. Welcome to ROWE SHOW. Where do we start?
Whenever you want.
Just introduce yourself and introduce your guests.
What do you think about ROWE SHOW? What do you think about that?
The ROWE SHOW?
Yeah, either the or just ROWE SHOW, like the Facebook or Facebook.
Oh,
ROWE
yeah.
SHOW.
ROWE SHOW's great. I mean,
ROWE
if
SHOW.
it's your show, I mean, yeah. The no name is ever like where you're like, that's the
If
one.
it becomes good, then it's associated with.
That's the thing.
Good.
If it's big, when it blows up, everybody's like, that's a great name. But when it doesn't, you're like, that's a lame. It's like everybody's got a fucking
It's
podcast.
the obvious, catchy, simple version.
ROWE
Easy.
SHOW.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good.
It's the easy hashtag.
If you're watching this, you probably know who I am already. So, that's Renee.
Hi.
Renee's a movie guy. He was kind of like movie guy, Swiss Army knife. He used to live out of his car and just do anything they wanted him to in Hollywood.
Which is what you have to do to succeed in Hollywood.
Maybe with a limit.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be build the stage. It might be get some coffee. It might be, go pick this person up, whatever it is. And now he still does everything in Hollywood, but just on a much higher level. So last time I was out in Puerto Rico on set with him and John Travolta watching John Travolta create a movie.
Mm-hmm.
My friend introduced us, who also was on a set with him doing blah, 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 blah. Sigourney Weaver. What was the
Sigourney Weaver,
Imaginary
Michelle
Heroes?
Williams movie called Imaginary Heroes.
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff.
His old partner was basically a PA on the movie, and I had no idea. And then at the very end of the movie, he just pulled me to the side. He goes, I like the way you work. So,
Yeah.
I like how you operate. So I'm going to tell you who I am. Okay, here we go.
Oh, Dylan?
Yeah. It's like, I just
Right.
sold my firm.
Right. And
Head to
Dylan's like
Florida.
a big ass fucking investor,
Yeah.
like master Wall Street dude who decided after he left. I raised $1 million for him, and he started an internet company in like '99. It didn't work. He was kind of ahead of his time, very early. It's '99 for the internet early, and after it didn't work, he just went out to Hollywood and just became coffee boy. He's like, let me just try to
Damn.
let's do this adventure. Like
Yeah.
he had plenty of money. He was like. I would watch him. When he was like 23, I'm watching him hire like 60-year-old dudes and just manage a firm and just be.
That's crazy.
And he was fucking like, yeah, he's a legend pretty much on Wall Street. But yeah, then he was coffee boy for you, and that's how we know each other. And just A-list movies with a whole bunch of other people. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not, so let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Matt Ross, who is a stand-up comic. Up and coming, you might be past up and coming right now. I don't know. Are you up and coming?
I would say up and coming is a very kind way.
I think he's a higher level up and coming.
It implies that there's more to come, which is good.
Certainly not past your prime.
I
he's
hope
not at the
not
top.
past
Okay,
my
yeah.
prime.
Good.
Not at the top. But I'm not at Mad Robot anymore. So it's
Not at
an
Mad
in between of
Yeah.
where I was and where I could be. Yeah.
It's funny how now I know we're all tempted to say he has this many followers. Like,
Yeah.
that's how far along. He's
Yeah.
about a this many numbers,
Yeah.
this number type of guy. What's that, 50?
Close.
Yeah.
We're nearing in on 50, but I don't know. It's so funny because it like we are in comedy, so like having followers does mean something. But like with the TikTok generation of comedy, like everybody has followers, so it's funny.
True. A lot of robots.
I have like almost 50,000 followers, but it doesn't mean that I have 50,000 fans.
People who know you, who you are.
Yes, just weird.
You got 30,000 like 8-year-old Brazilian girls with one post.
Yeah, who are like, they're like running a meme farm in the middle of Uganda or something, and they click follow on me, and I'm like, yes, one more.
But that's how one of the things they take into consideration now. One of the first things is how many followers you have if you want to get hired at some club or
Yeah, it's all like, it's funny because with followers, it's like. I post these videos, and then let's say 50,000 people see it. 6,000 of those people are the ones who follow me. And then I'm excited that the other 44,000 are people who don't follow me. Mm. So I'm posting videos hoping people who don't follow me see it so that they do follow me. And then once I get their follow, I post another video hoping that people who don't follow me see it. So it's like this weird thing, but it does have some sort of currency in the world that we live in and operate in. And then you get there, and then the thing that you have to have is you have to be able to be funny though, which is,
that is important.
Yeah.
Without saying names, what do you think about the fact? I mean, there's so many comics on Netflix that made it to Netflix.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure all of them are Netflix worthy or, worldwide streaming platform worthy.
Are you asking me about Matt Rife? Is that who you're talking about? I'll talk shit about Matt Rife. No.
Yeah, we can talk shit about Matt Rife. I'm sure he'd like that, but I'll tell you. All right, so I think Matt Rife I think he's funny. People don't like that he does the crowd work and stuff. He clearly has written material, but what did he put out, like 3 or 4 in the first fucking 12 seconds of his stardom?
Yeah.
So how do you put out? It's impossible, So of course, crowd work.
Yeah, people hate that stuff, but the
first one was written.
The weird like thing going on with social media and comedy is like people do want crowd work. So like I post a lot of crowd work because I like to do crowd work, but I like doing jokes a lot more. But I have people who think they're like I've had people go like, you're like a crowd work comic, right? And it's like
no, that's what people.
It's funny because it's funny if you watch me do 20 minutes if I'm doing a lot of crowd work, maybe 5 minutes of it is crowd work. The rest of it's material. And the crowd work I do is me doing crowd work to get into material. So it's a funny thing, but yeah, I think there's a lot of people. I mean, you can't stress about people who get somewhere that don't deserve to get somewhere. That's showbiz, baby. You know what I mean?
Sucks though? I think it's causing people in the audience to talk more shit.
I do think that,
and they want to get on your reel. They want the fame.
I do feel at times like a part of the problem just because I post crowd work. But yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people like club owners, managers, and comics just talk about like the last couple years, the crowds are different because they see crowd work clips, and so they want to yell out, they want to be on your video, they just
think that's how it is now.
Yeah, or they've never been to a comedy show, right. And what got them to a comedy show is they now like crowd work clips, and then so they go, what's around me? And
Let's go get fucked up and talk shit to the
right,
comedian,
exactly, and they think that's what it's like. Or I've had conversations with people who I would consider a heckler, but they weren't necessarily like ruining the show, but it was somebody that I had to like continue to shut down and keep going, be like, oh, but I helped you, right? But I helped you out because they'll yell something out, I'll say something to them, it'll make the crowd laugh.
Is a bad one.
Yeah.
That's close to you should use this in your bit.
Right. Well, it's annoying because it's like, no, just because you said something and then I had to respond and make it funny doesn't mean you were helping me. It means I'm good at my job, but I would have rather been doing what I prepared to do than shutting you up every 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Do you think because of the new environment, you're nicer to people who do talk shit? Because before, I mean, a couple of years ago, if somebody's talking shit, I already have a whole bunch of things I could say that start out really nice, give them a couple of chances, and then start getting mean to embarrass them and get everybody else on your side, which they're already on your side.
Right.
But just a little technique to shut them down. But now that it is the way that it is, and they're kind of coming in almost expecting it, do you have any like a little more leniency?
No, I don't think so. I think there's a difference between like, I'm always like, I would like to be kind to the people that I prod.
I'm trying to think of comics that go to shows because they want to get ripped on. I mean, comics like that, not go to shows, but comics that have shows that have people that go there because they want to get ripped on. I went to Sassy Susie, Sassy Sally. Who's the one from Curb? Curb.
From
Susie
Curb.
Essman.
Susie, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name? The husband?
So Jeff Garland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Garland.
Her,
yeah.
the wife.
Uh-huh.
And she goes nuts and rips on people. And so that's one person who I went specifically because I wanted her to tear me an asshole.
Really?
I'm trying to think of other comedians that are like that.
I don't know. That would be a weird show that would be a really weird show to
Are you masochist?
be at.
It's
Yeah.
a masochist
You enjoy yes.
genre of comedy. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
you
is.
enjoy the pain.
Yeah. Well, there's some venues you go to that it's like there should be chicken wire, like if they throw stuff.
Like
yeah.
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse, yeah,
Right,
chicken
yeah.
wire. You
Right.
probably don't get the Roadhouse reference, but
I've never seen it. I know what it is,
How old
but
are you?
I've never
29,
seen
30?
it. I just turned 30.
oh,
Yeah.
happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah. It's nice. It's all over now, is what I keep hearing.
It's all
I think
downhill
it's-
from here.
I think
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, you got achy joints for a little
Yeah, like
15 years, you'll be fine. And then
Yeah, my knee feels
There's
weird,
different
but
humps.
it's like, it's fine. You
there's
know?
a 45-year-old hump, there's a 30-year hump.
Yeah. It is what
Old
it
people
is, though.
puberty.
Yeah. Do you feel
OPP.
so? Are you in Florida a lot? Do you go up?
You mean do I go up in Florida a lot? 'Cause I live
Yeah.
in Florida, but I mean, lately it's been about average, maybe once a week, maybe a couple times a week, maybe.
Right.
Sometimes I'll go a couple weeks or God, even a few weeks without doing it, which
Yeah.
just start to get crazy. I start to fucking hate life, and it's like, you listen to people who exercise a lot, and they talk about how they feel if they don't exercise for 2 or 3 days.
Do you feel like that if you don't go up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, like I'm not even myself right now, I'm
Yeah.
getting in this angry, just stressed world, like taking shit too seriously. And I'm interacting with the same people, like the same 20 people or whatever.
Right. For
So
your
when
business.
I go out, the audience, it's always a different audience. It's always a
Yeah.
different instrument we get to play. It's like we go out and we play an instrument that we don't know how it's tuned. Basically, every time we go out, we play the whatever, guitar. We just don't know how it's tuned. And
Yeah.
that's the audience. And I love people. I kind of get into crowd work just because I ask people a lot of questions. Love talking to all the people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's therapeutic, and then you get the reward when your joke works.
Yeah. Well, because I remember when I first started, end of 2019 or something like that. You were like the guy. But this is my perspective back then, it's like watching, because like there were so many things that I couldn't do, like tell a good joke or do crowd work when I first started.
There's so many things about comedy that I wasn't good at.
I was just
telling jokes.
Yeah, I mean,
or
back
speaking.
then when I first started, people would say that I was good, which felt nice, like people who had been doing it just a little longer than me. But when you just start, somebody who's been doing it a year is like a pro. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I was like, that's great. But then like I'd watch like you, Jay Guy was one of them. Where it's like, it's so funny. You could do crowd work, which is like, I mean, when you first start, the thought of doing anything other than word for word what you have planned is
Scary.
fucking scary.
So let's stop there for a second. So why is it scary? For me, it was scary because if I go off script, I'm gonna draw a blank. My head's gonna be empty, and I'm just gonna be looking at the audience like with nothing at all to say.
Well, it's yeah, you don't know what to do. Like you're truly, it's the most faith you can ever have in yourself is to go off
well
script,
said.
start asking questions, and then go, I believe in myself that I can make whatever is about to happen funny. And I've heard people say, like, comics who are like truly like, vets or, whatever, is like, if you're going to do crowd work and you're going to ask a question, you have to have something funny to say no matter what they respond with. And That's great advice. I don't think I've ever felt that way. Like, I don't think I've ever been like, no matter what they say, I have a response already up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get little like quips and things that you're gonna say if people, because a lot of people say the same shit when you ask them the same questions. But like, I love the situations of being like, I have no fucking clue what's gonna go on here, and that's why it's scary. You know, you can write 5 minutes,
It's
and
fun because it's scary.
yeah,
But
fuck yeah.
to me, it's like if you got to have, you're never going to be able to have an answer for everything they say. So you have to have an answer for when they say something that you don't have an answer for. You have
Yeah,
to say, I don't know what the fuck to say to that in a funny way. Whether
Right.
it's just, I don't know what the fuck to say, whether it's just the way your face looks or the tone, or if you have something clever that you could say that conveys that. Like, I have bombing jokes. If I'm bombing, I've got like 5 different things to say.
right.
Or if someone's heckling me and I don't know how to specifically address that heckler anymore. Like, I've got generic heckler.
Right.
Jokes.
Yeah.
How'd you know that comedy was a passion for you? Like, do you remember kind of the moment that it just struck you that was the thing?
So like, I mean, when I was young, I would always watch like Comedy Central, and that was when Comedy Central actually was like a worthwhile network for stand-up comedy. And I remember watching like specials all the time. And then, so that was like my whole life, but I never really remember feeling like I want to do this. Like, but I was always like ADHD kid, like class clown, like getting kicked out of class, like making jokes. You know, I was always like witty is how my mom would always describe me. And then, I had like a good amount of years where I was like real bad on drugs, and I finally got my shit together, got clean. And
This
then
is your next drug.
it truly, I mean, for in a lot of ways is like 100%. And I was sober for a couple of years, and one of my roommates showed me Tom Segura's specials, Completely Normal and Mostly Stories, which are like 2 of the best specials, period, in my opinion. And it like reignited my love for comedy. And then I was dating this girl who took me to a comedy show, and I watched it. I watched somebody that we know, who I won't name. I watched them host at the Improv, and they just bombed their dick off.
Why don't you say the name? Who cares if everybody bombs? I bomb.
It's Cintron, and
All right, so
Mike
that's
Cintron.
Cintron has way enough props to especially be comfortable saying it's him.
And I remember watching him, and this is why I wouldn't have mentioned his name, but also like, I don't, whatever, is I remember watching him and going, if this guy can do it, I can do it.
You mean the guy who you just saw bomb, that version of him?
Well, yeah, that version, whatever he was presenting that night, I was like, if this is all it takes to perform up there, I can do this. And because I was at a weird place where I was like a couple years sober, and I was like, do I go back to school? Do I like, what do I do? And then I got my transcripts sent to me from the like couple years I did in college while I was addicted to drugs, and I read them, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to help me get in anywhere, you know? So I got this like weird thing, like where I was like, I want to try. And then I matched with a girl on Bumble who told me about an open mic, and I went, and it didn't exist anymore. And then, no, you don't. No, she's never done comedy. She knew about it. And then I went to a comedy show. I saw Emo Phillips at the Palm Beach Improv, which was awesome. He's just a different creature when it comes to comedy. But I saw Jackie and Warren, who are both comics in Florida, in the line to take pictures. And I recognized Jackie from hosting for Theo Von. And
she did?
She hosted for Theo Von years ago.
So
yeah.
Jealous.
And I recognized her, and I saw them take the picture together. So I took a picture with Emo Phillips, and I posted it, and I geotagged Palm Beach Improv. And then later that night, I went and looked that up. I looked up the location. I looked at all the pictures. I found Jackie. I found Warren. I DM'd both of them, and they told me about this little open mic called Backstage. And it took me probably a month from then to do it.
Which one was it? Backstage? Oh, that's something Jackie was doing.
Jackie ran it. It was in West Palm.
I remember that.
And
it had like a broken stage or something.
Oh, it was gross. Like it smelled like shit. There was nobody but comics, you know.
That's the one in the back room with the sliding door, the wooden doors or whatever.
It was great. It was like, looking back on it, it actually, full of people ready to laugh, would have been a really great place to do like a little room for like 30, 40 people. It would have been great. It just never had anybody in there.
I went there. There was probably like maybe 2 tables of civilians, maybe tables of 5 though, like the nice big tables. I brought my son. It was one of the like 2. I think he must have been like 12 or something. And I snuck him in somehow. And I mean, part of my act is joking about his mom.
Yeah.
So
how interesting.
Yeah.
What a weird dynamic.
Yeah. No, but he's the coolest. He's like a little mini me.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll see him. I mean, he's 14 now, so
he's got a little chair too.
He's got a little baby chair.
He's got a little smaller chair. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I say in my set, and I didn't come here to say jokes, but it's actually true. That's the reason why I'll say it. But when he was like 5, he looked at me all like inquisitively, and he's like, when I grow up, I'm gonna be in a wheelchair too, right? And then,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, and the joke is that I look down and I go, you might.
Yeah. Just like that.
Maybe.
Never know.
But instead I was like, oh.
Yeah. But I miss like that like beginning part, because that's basically what happened. Is like I did it, and then I just haven't stopped since then. And
it's fucking great. And you do it every night. That's it, right?
Yeah,
every single night almost.
If I can, yeah. You know, I mean, especially out here, there's so much going on. And I wouldn't say it's like every single night, but it'll be like, especially on the weekends, like multiple spots a night, which is great. And,
fucking great.
And it wasn't like that in Florida, really. It was hard,
I disagree. I mean, it was hard. I agree with that. But
it was hard to do.
Like 2. The thing about Florida is you have to calculate how far the next one is. So
that's
the thing. Hour away, and you're willing to go a fucking hour.
Right.
And I know a lot of the comics, they don't have a lot of money. So it's like you're going to spend gas money to get down there and back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the thing.
Some people don't want to drink and drive.
You can go to Miami for sure, but I lived in West Palm. It's like an hour. So you go down there and do like what could be like a really shitty spot. It could be. Yeah, whereas like here, there's like those. So there's East Austin Comedy Club, which is like a mile that way. There's Mothership. There's Vulcan. There's Black Rabbit. There's Sunset. And I would say all of those are within a mile of here.
Mile or 2?
Mile and a half.
Is Black Rabbit crazy. Is Black Rabbit that place that we went to that was next to the Mothership? It's like a block down, and there's a rabbit on like the sign, and there's a giant rabbit statue. Is that what that is?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? There's a fucking giant. Isn't that a rabbit?
The holding place where we went was Shakespeare's, I think.
No. When before that we went to hang out, where you did actually record that.
Oh no, it was the Jackalope.
No. That's just another bar down there. But yeah,
that's one of the things I love about it so much, is that there's so many different like settings. Like the last one I did besides here at Creek was SLS in Miami. So it's like a nice hotel. It's in Miami. Yeah, there's people like half the place. They're in the hotel. They just found out there was a comedy show down there, and that's one thing. And then you have a dive bar, which is a completely other thing. And then you have improv, which is a completely other thing. That's kind of what I love about it. So much diversity, like there's the pizza shop. Thank you, Miami. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's the most fucked up thing that's happened during a set.
I shit my pants. No, I didn't shit my pants.
I didn't know until after, because
I was like, why does this play? No, I didn't really shit my pants. Not then. But what was the most fucked up thing that happened? The most fucked up thing that happened, I mean, aside from people trying to jump up on stage with you and climb up on stage and stab you. Yeah. Well,
he was a big act out comic before he got stabbed on stage. Actually, I don't know if you.
My second set that I ever did. Actually, it was my first open mic. It was the second set, because the first one was like a graduation of a show, a loaded audience. So I went from loaded audience after so a lot of, I don't know about a lot of comics, but some comics start with a comedy class.
Mm-hmm.
So basically for 5 weeks, they get over stage fright in front of 10 other people who are also trying to get over stage fright. And then everybody invites their friends and family. So it's a loaded audience. And everybody knows that it's your first time. So no one's going to really be a dick.
Yeah.
And people are going to extra laugh. And it's just funny that their friend is on stage trying to do comedy anyway. So it's a great time. So anyway, but the next one after that was Funky Buddha, which is robots. Funky Buddha is robots.
Yeah.
And I go up, and you see how I'm rocking this chair right now? So I do that in the wheelchair. I'll have my hand on one wheel, and I'm just talking, and I'm just going back and forth like this. and the front wheels are like shopping cart wheels where they turn around, they flip around. And so the mic cord is like in the wheel, and I'm not realizing it, but it's getting tighter and tighter. And now it's getting smaller and smaller. And I'm at the point where I'm leaning over, telling jokes like this. And there's this one dude who has like, he's just ripping on me the whole time. And I'm like, I said something about my dick, because you do dick jokes when you first start.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't believe you. Whip it out. Blah, 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 blah. And he had a pink bandana on it. And I wish I could see this guy now. You know, it's like a bully who beat you up and then you got big, you know. But I mean, that's really the worst thing that happened to me.
That's so
you know?
funny,
And then
though.
like Richie Lala was there, Richie Leese. And then, you know, I had to do a wheelie. I had to like hold myself in a wheelie when he came up on stage when my set was over, and he was like trying to undo it. And it was just fucking embarrassing, you know?
That's so funny, though.
First time. And my second time doing stand-up, I mean, the first time was like crazy. And I remember signing up for the open mic, and just, it's not a single file line. It's just a mob of people that are just trying to fight for it. I remember telling somebody, I was like, I just want to get my teeth kicked in right now so I get over it. And he's like, you know, I don't know, he made some sexual thing about it. But I kind of wanted to get beat up on that one, and it happened. And the next one I did was at Hard Rock Improv, which doesn't exist anymore. But there's two kind of sides that you can go down. One where everybody goes down, and the other one's right by the kitchen. And you go down that, and whichever side you go down, you know, you're walking alongside of the bleachers. So it goes like this, kind of gets lower and lower. And you don't know how many people are there until you're kind of in the front of it. So you roll, I'm rolling down, it's doing this, and I turn around, it's just standing room only. It's like 500 people. And the question, you know, you bring people, if you bring 10 people or whatever. I guess I only rounded up like 5 or something, strangers. So I got last pick, and it was like spot number 1 or spot number 16. Which means that they watched 16 other motherfuckers doing comedy. And like, they're just there to beat the shit out of you at this point. You're drunk. They're like, I hate this. Why am I here? So, it was either 1 or 16, and then everybody's like, pick one. So I picked 1, and then I went down that little hallway, and I turned around and I saw it. I was like,
all the people.
Everything started spinning, and I did well. And then I just drove home, and I had a big. I remember I had a smile on my face. It's just me.
Yeah.
You know, nobody else in the car. I couldn't get it hurt. My cheeks hurt the whole way home. And I remember just like punching the steering wheel in happiness. Like, dude, this is fucking great.
That first
best,
that first crush feels crazy. It's that first shot is like nothing. Because I did backstage, and I remember thinking it was good, but I've listened back to the tape. I won't anymore, but I've listened back to the tape, and it was just one. It was
I won't anymore.
Oh fuck no, you dude. You couldn't pay me to listen to that. It was like. And it was just one person really laughing, and then, you know, the other mic was like a cigar place. And I remember that was the first place I remember being like, fuck, this is going really bad. Like, it's not fun. And that first bomb, it was Lalo and Casso used to run it as the cigar bar. Yeah. And it was outside, and it was shit. Forts. And looking back on it, I didn't know at the time, because I didn't know who any of the comics were. I was performing for all comics, and then like a table of like old guys who are watching the fucking football game and are furious that we're there.
They're like men.
They're men. They're fucking
cigar smoking, hairy arms,
yes,
hairy hands, men.
And dude, getting through that first bomb, especially I see a lot of the time as being out in Florida where they do those comedy classes, and you do the graduation show, and you do 5 minutes, and it's in front of 200-300 people or something crazy. And they're all pretty supportive for the most part. And you have no barometer for what 200 to 300 people should sound like also. So everything you say gets some sort of laugh, and you go, this is great. And then you go to that open mic, you go to that fucking Buddha, and you bomb. I've seen so many people never come back out after that. But I remember the first time it was Mad Robot by the time I started, but it was Funky Buddha, and it was great. And if you got up in time, it was like a bucket system that was a little rigged for funnier people. And Casso went up before me, Dan Casso, who was very funny. And he did, you know what? I went up, and it was a hot crowd. And I had the first set where I was like, damn, I just like crushed. And it's funny because looking back on it, I probably didn't do that good. It's probably one of those sets that now I'd be like, but okay. It was just that first time where it was like, and then when I was getting off stage and they were about to bring Dan up, he was like, how'd that feel? And I remember just being like,
killed it,
I just remember being like, God damn, it felt so good.
That's the difference. The way I see it, I think I see it differently from a lot of people. Like I said before, I feel like the audience is your instrument, right? And the venue you're in, it's the same thing. You know, you have acoustics, the way that it sounds. The Funky Buddha, my favorite fucking club, without question, very easily. Kind of relatively low ceilings. I mean, I guess I don't even know if the ceilings were low actually, but it was just a closed in feel. And you got college kids. FAU is right there. So if you're saying dark humor, whatever, it's hilarious. And yeah, when they laugh, it just fucking vibrates off all the walls, and it's just the best. That laughter, I mean, that I look at it like an instrument, you know, and the venue is part of the instrument. So there's just like the crowd is what you're there to play. So like you might not think that you did well if you think about your jokes and you think about what you can do now, especially. But it's more like, what reaction did you get? You know, like how like that audience. Sometimes the audience just sucks. Sometimes your comedy can be incredible, and the audience is like last night. The audience was kind of weird. Yeah, it was like they were nice, they were friendly. It was a little pulling teeth.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it was like, you know, kissing somebody for the first time is not compatible. You know, it's just awkward.
It really,
they're hot, but you know,
it really is
awkward.
Weird like that. Like, because you're right, because it's like I look back, I could do that for everything. I could go, yeah, well, I thought it was good then, but it was like, you know, it was like the first time I had pizza, I thought it was good, but it was Pizza Hut, and now I've had fucking a good fucking New York slice. Like, it's like whatever. But at the time, that was the only perspective that I had, which was like, these are the only it probably realistically was like the only 5 minutes that I had, and I did all of it. And I remember joking. I remember like riffing something with the crowd, which is also crazy. You know, I was probably doing comedy for like 3 or 4 months, and like somebody said something and I said something back, and it hit. It was just like one of those things where it was like
naturally
happened. And like so. Sure, looking back, like I would never do the jokes that I probably did that night, but like if for that time, it was like I mean, it was the drug, it was the hook, dude. I had it at that point, you know. Knowing you can do that,
indescribable. We could say all this. Anybody who's never done it cannot understand.
That's the thing. It really is like, and that's the thing is, it really is like drugs. Like it really is like heroin. It's like, dude, like
breaks up marriages real fast.
Makes you poor.
It makes you poor. Yeah. Like I'll think about things I forgot to say in one set for like ever. You know,
I'll do a set that goes really amazing, and I'll forget to do that one new little joke that I was gonna do, and I'll be pissed off. Yeah. You know, it really is like a weirdly like obsessive. It is a weirdly obsessive thing. You know,
what's the root of like the satisfaction that you get by making people laugh involuntarily? Like, is that?
Okay, so there's two answers to this. There's the wholesome, sort of like spiritual in nature answer, and then there's the like ego answer for me. And I think both exist. It just depends when you catch me. The answer, the like nice, wholesome answer is like the satisfaction of making another human, like laughing is like the best feeling. Like anytime anybody, you've ever hung out with a friend and you have those like belly laughs and it's just like such a good time. Or like when you were young and you'd have a sleepover and the lights are off and you're all trying to go to bed, and then somebody makes a fake fart noise and you're just you can't stay serious. It's like that feeling is the best. So being able to make somebody else laugh, not knowing who walked in the door, what kind of day they had, what kind of week they're having, what kind of life they're having, and giving them a break, even if it's for the 10, 30 minutes that I'm on stage, whatever it is, right?
The empathetic
is such a beautiful thing, because like I've been, especially like the life I've had is like, I've been in positions where I would have died for 30 minutes of like relief. I mean, that was all I ever wanted, like doing drugs, is like especially towards the end when it was like really bad, is like I would get high and I would just hope that it was like 20 to 30 minutes of just being able to be okay, not think about all the shit. It's an escape. So being able to do that is great. Now, the other answer, the power of being able to control a room and know that I'm the center of attention, and that it really is like, especially whether it's like last night where it's like 40 people, or a room like a big club, like you were saying, like the Hard Rock, or like, you know, I was in Arizona this weekend. It was like 350 people. And when you have that in the palm of your hands and you're going, I'm going to say something, they're going to laugh. And then they laugh. There's no feeling like that. I don't think. think, you know.
It's like hooking up with somebody en masse. You know, if you feel like you can bring it up on command and then bring it back down on command, you know, like the ego thing too. I get excited because, like I said, it's an instrument. But so when you can bring the energy up and then you can kind of slow down the pace when you want to, and then you know when you want you leave it silent for a second and then slam and then hit them, and then exactly what you thought was going to happen happens. Yeah, it's like it's like when you find somebody who where it really works.
Yeah,
but
it's
the
like
whole audience.
It's like the symphony or like
What's the guy?
What's
Conductor.
the conductor? Yeah, where you know you'll see him lower it and then it gets quiet and then you know it really can be like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an addictive feeling. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think most people have been in a situation or a conversation where they say the funny thing and they might not have even realized it was going to be that funny.
Dopamine.
And it makes everybody laugh. Yeah. It's like, smack that right into the mic.
ASMR that.
Yeah. You've seen those videos where like ladies will like rattle their nails on the mic and stuff. I don't get it, dude. It freaks me the fuck out.
What, that's like a fetish?
It's an ASMR thing. Apparently
What's
ASMR. You never heard of ASMR? Damn, dude, that's crazy.
Wow.
It's weird that you've never heard of that. It's
weird
like
that
you've never heard of
it.
It's weird.
Like, what is it?
It's where people like rustle, make really close noises to the microphone.
ASMR? What does that sound?
What is it?
Audio, sound, manipulation.
So here's the thing. Some people with ASMR experience a like tingling feeling in their head and it becomes very relaxing. It freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah.
What is it? So besides, so there's
so
nails
they
on
do
the
all
thing.
sorts of things. People will whisper and they'll do this kind of thing. And you can hear when they're talking, you can hear their lips separate while they talk. And you can hear, so then some people will they'll eat. That's the creepiest one. So they'll do.
But is it like designed to be a fetish? Like, I want to listen to this kind of thing. Or is it something some people do like in their podcast? It's just their style.
Well, what isn't a sex thing, really? If you think about it, I'm sure there are people who want to watch a thick woman eat a fried chicken meal from KFC with the mic boosted all the way up.
You can say black.
That's what they want.
We all know
you're
you're
like
trying
crispy and like
They want to see a thick bitch eating fried chicken.
And you just can hear the grease.
Yeah,
just
I
as
mean,
they're
you can hear
crunching.
everything.
No, but
It's so
you know
weird.
my question, right? Is it a thing that's designed to like people? Everyone listening to it is listening because it does something, or is it? Or is it just how they are? Like so and so was on this person's podcast, and that's how they are.
No, it's not a podcast
show
thing.
is the
It's a
ASMR.
specific
asking.
thing. Yeah, it's a very specific thing, and it's weird. There's so many weird things. And then,
ASMR,
have you ever heard of
wow.
a mukbang?
Whoa.
Which also,
no, but that
speaking
sounds
of, it sounds
intriguing.
like it has to be sexual, right?
Mukbang.
Mukbang is basically people will film themselves eating crazy amounts of food, and they've mixed ASMR in with that. So it'll be like a small Asian woman eating the most food
Oh,
you've
if it's a small
ever.
Asian woman, then it's okay.
I know you're into Asians. It's
No,
like a
but
small Asian
I
woman.
just imagine like someone munching.
Some of them are
you
gross
know,
and
versus
fat,
like a
though,
little
also.
like,
Yeah.
Autonomous sensory meridian response.
Right. So it gives you some sort of weird response, but I don't get it, man. It'll literally be like a small Asian woman eating like a fucking squid. Like she'll be slurping down a tentacle into the microphone, and
that's the hardcore ASMR.
5 million views.
Yeah.
I almost just want to look up Asian mukbang and just see.
You ever see the one where the girl just like bites the head off of a turtle and just starts eating the fucking turtle's body?
That's basically what we're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
She does it real
it's-
close
it's
to the
crazy.
mic.
Now I know how to categorize
You
it.
can hear it. Right.
Yeah, well, it's a thing. It's like, is it sex? Is it not? Who
Asians
knows?
are so advanced.
Yeah, so look at this bitch. Look at these people, right?
Right?
This one,
Look at
this
this human
one.
being.
Look at this tiny little Asian bitch. 109 million
5-foot giant
views.
octopus.
Tell
Well,
me
that
that's
looks
not
like a
the craziest shit
giant,
you've ever
big
seen.
black-
Look at her eating that octopus.
How she monetized that?
She get 33 million views. That's how she
33
get
million
it.
views.
And that one
Wow.
isn't even
I'm-
shit.
all right,
the
fuck
one below
comedy.
it has 109.
To hell with comedy
Yeah.
and financial stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna start.
Well, that's the thing. There's so many. And then this one eating this big clam that weirdly looks like fucking a penis.
Yeah.
Like it's like they'll get these big squids and they'll eat them like they'll deep throat them basically, but they're quote
It's all
unquote
Asian.
eating them.
Okay, so
I'm
it's all
telling you,
Asian.
dude.
The
I mean,
Asians
you
never-
looked up Asian mukbang, so we are
yeah.
getting.
spelled it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it knew what you wanted. Look up Jess mukbang.
It knew what you wanted.
You started typing and it just came up already. Right, yeah.
Your
I'm
fingerprints.
not into it.
Well, it's still mostly Asians, so yeah. I don't know
Eating
if it's
authentic
this. I don't know
Mexican
if
food.
this topic. See, look at these
Asians,
fat
even,
fucks.
even here, they
Look
have
at
like,
these motherfuckers. 100
Yeah, but she
Raisin
only gets
Cane's chicken
3.4.
fingers with that. Dude, it's so, yeah. It's so gross. And there's like before and afters of that guy, the guy who's in the one with the fat
Why
chick.
Asians?
When he started YouTubing, he was like skinny and now he's disgustingly fat.
Who's this?
The guy in the one with the white chick, the fat white chick. Yeah, this guy's
Oh.
so fat. If I could eat some of the meals that I eat on camera and get that many views, I would do it. I had like
I would
5
not.
tacos last night
I
just
would not.
standing.
Oh, eating, yeah, but I wouldn't get fucking unhealthy.
No. That's the thing is like these people, well, these Asian people,
The
except
hot
for
dog
sumos.
contest winner is always Asian
Yeah.
in the men's and
Kobayashi,
women's
dude.
divisions.
Like that guy's in great
See,
shape.
look, wait. So that's 97 million views.
See,
you
look
jealous?
at this
Are
one.
you
That's
jealous?
ASMR.
Beyonce. Is she eating a brush?
Well, it's crazy because that has 97 million views, and then all I want is for people to watch me do stand up. And then this
Yeah.
woman, if I could get a YouTube video to get 100,000 views, I'd be so happy. Yeah, because I've got some videos that have lots of views on Instagram, but it's not the same. The money that these people make having 100 million views.
No, I've got a boy and a girl. I've got a 14-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl. So I'm obsessive. I'm especially notably obsessive on trajectory. So I'm always thinking, this is happening, that's happening. So what's likely to happen in probabilities? And I obsess over, the stuff that a female has to go through or is going to have to go through year by year by year. And then my son, I already know because I'm me,
Yeah,
and guys have it. Guys have it easy. Women have to give birth. Women go through 4 stages a month. We know of one, it's PMS or whatever, but each week there's a new person, and they're getting to know that person. They're like, you again.
yeah,
And they apologize. They have to apologize for it all the time. It's like,
yeah.
fucking
That
guy.
does-
Just
yeah,
that
it's
one
gotta be
thing.
weird
We
having-
can master it. It's not a moving target.
You have 2 kids. You have a girl and a boy. I'm positive you worry more about the girl.
I'll tell you, that's not true. I worry more about her in different ways. It's not really a more or less, but she's a different breed of person. If you meet her, she's a different breed of person. She's not gonna have any. She's gonna get into trouble that human beings get into. Whatever.
Of course, yeah.
But she's not. She's definitely not. When you think about a father thinking about their daughter getting into some shit, it's not gonna be some loose girl stuff.
I get what you're saying.
She's very.
Yeah.
As
Whereas,
far as
like-
I know, no,
Yeah.
no, but she is into Dungeons and Dragons. Plus, I'm in Coral Springs, Florida. I'm
Yeah.
on Queens.
He's like, no, trust me, she's a nerd and she's
good
kind
for
of
Coral
ugly.
Springs. she's beautiful, all that. So
What if you found
14
out, what if
boy,
you found out it
17
was
girl.
more dungeons than Dungeons and Dragons?
Then more Dungeons than Dragons.
Oh, it's fucked.
I'm
No,
just
but she's
saying.
cool too. I'm like, hey, do you ever smoke pot? And I feel like she'd say yeah
How old is she?
if she did. 17.
Oh, okay, word. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She definitely smokes weed.
And
Prime weed smoking
Probably
age.
not. I mean, maybe, but probably not.
Come on.
I don't know.
Dungeons
Dude,
and
she's like
Dragons?
the statewide great. She's like the top person in the planet.
I'll tell you what, she sees exactly what you want her to see.
She's that smart. Well, good. If she's that
Trust
smart,
me.
then she earned it. Yeah. I'd rather she be that.
Yeah.
I'd rather that's my preference. If
Yeah.
she can
I'm
fucking
obviously not
manipulate
a
me, then she's. I won.
Right. You
Well,
won.
all the things that you would have to worry about, if she's smart enough to keep them all from you, the things that you would worry about, she's obviously got under control.
yeah.
She
It's-
doesn't share shit with me. That's the problem. That's the
Uh-huh.
worry. It's not
course
like,
not.
growing up there were girls who, were sheltered and they were always the worst.
Yeah.
They had the, as adults they became the worst people, but she's
Yeah,
not
I
that
went to
she's
Catholic
sheltered.
schools.
Yeah, so all of them.
Yeah, it's all very true. Like the first time I ever was like inside of a girl was in her ass. That's crazy.
Really?
That's crazy.
Really?
gonna
Why?
say,
Because they
in
could say
Catholic-
they're still virgins?
Yeah, that's a real thing. Like that's
Holy
a
shit,
a
that
Catholic
is a
schoolgirls,
fucking
absolutely.
That's the
soundbite
thing.
right there.
Yeah.
that's a
We're gonna
that's a
be
cliche.
famous.
It's a cliche, but it's true.
Yeah.
100%. You know, because
Wow.
that's the loophole.
We used
the
to-
loophole.
Oral and anal
That is
don't
the
count.
loophole.
basically.
Oral and anal don't count.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
true.
And that was just one time, or was like that's what you did regularly for like
It
a
was just-
year?
I mean, that was just one time. Were you married when you started
Yeah.
comedy and then you got a divorce?
Yeah.
But do you feel like it was? Do you feel like it was? How much of it was because of comedy? Do you think?
98%.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because you were saying things she didn't like, you were so focused on it, you weren't focused on her.
You know,
like what?
I met her when I started a business as a startup. And so, you know, it was always, and I said, you know, before we had kids or anything, I was like, this is what I do. You know, I'm dedicated. I suck as a boyfriend. Like I'm dedicated to what I'm dedicated to. And it's all right. She signed up. And so it was a startup company. So I'm already putting all my fucking, so I guess maybe let's call it 80% and then leave like 3% in for other shit. And yeah, but the 18% for the
Well, I was
company.
going to say of the 98%, are you sure that 93% of it wasn't just you?
3% was whatever the fuck shit people go through. And then the rest of it divided into about maybe like 80-20 comedy and business. Because business is more like that's your business. You're a normal person because you have a business.
When you're investing a bunch of time, that's not going to her, but it is going to
Right.
her being comfortable and paying for things.
Right.
It's a lot easier than being like,
Well-
I'm also doing all this, but I'm doing it. I'm actually losing money doing it for the most part.
There's a lot of things that you know, like people don't understand, especially younger people. Like you can say in the beginning of a relationship, this is how things are. You have to understand. If you're signing up, this is the way it is, and then they agree. But that's 25-year-old them. You know, 32-year-old them is a different fucking person, and of course they want to honor the contract that they whatever figuratively signed, but. You know, if we're being real, it's like, yo, you're 32 now. You know, you're a different person. I get it if you're not into this.
Was it 7 years?
What? It
So
went on
like
for 10 years.
So I was going to say,
7 years
is the
of
adage,
happiness.
is the adage true?
I did 7
Ooh.
because you get the
7-year
itch.
thing.
Yeah, there's an itch. And it was 7 years of happiness.
What's
And
the
then it was
7-year
3
adage?
7-year itch is an old adage.
Everything goes to shit. It's
Just
7
like 2 years,
Yeah,
after 2 years, things kind of get, whatever. 7 years, and at 10 is when you really start thinking, all right, that we're in double digits.
Yeah.
Do I want to do this? And that was what she was thinking. I was like, I was great because she was home with the kids and I had a pretty big house, and it's like honestly, like I got the big house. A lot of it was for her, like because I knew she wanted, like there's gardens and all kinds of cool shit you could do, But it's a lot to keep
bought
up.
her a playground.
But 10 is usually like a trigger in the divorce laws.
Both of us. But when I'm not there, and the way she started looking at it was, you're at work and then doing comedy. It's like I have to be with the kids all the time, and I was like, you get to be with the kids all the time. Like, what are you talking about? What are you doing?
Right.
Going with the pool with them? Like,
Ooh, that's a
amazing.
weird perspective thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
But
she's
I
like-
understand her perspective now
Of
as a
course.
46-year-old, and I look back, I'm like an adult looking back at a kid, but comedy became the other woman, and I was just telling these guys out there, in like year 1 of comedy. So Renee Hart owns all the big comedy like improvs and stuff like that out there, and in Arizona, and so she's like the queen bee of comedy, pretty much out there. And I started out doing a class. So she's there next to you and all that stuff. So I knew her from the beginning. But anyway, I posted because I was going out every night. I saw what I was doing and I was like, okay. And my wife was my wife at the time was super tolerant, just always wanted to be the cool wife, always wanted to do the right thing, always wanted to be the cool wife.
Yeah.
And that started grinding on her, naturally.
Yeah.
But I posted, as a I'm still a rookie, but my year 1 comic, and I was like, how do you handle, I was like, hey, experienced people, like, how do you handle being married and now you do comedy? And Renee just was the first one to respond. She just wrote divorce.
Dang.
And I was like, oh
no.
It was cold, but it was
no.
true. And then all the next person I asked was, I'm 46, so I forget everybody's names. What the fuck? I'm so pissed at myself for that fucking guy. What's the guy's name? He's improv comic.
He does the
Starts with a D. Is it Danny? No. Dean Napolitano. You know
Oh,
Dean
yeah.
Dean Napolitano. So yeah, he said the same thing. He's like, hey, He's like, I started doing comedy. I had to get a divorce too. He's like, once you're bit, you're bit. He's like, either you try it and you hate it, you try it, you're bit. That's it. And it's your drug and that's it. So I took her out to one show. I took her out to the Hard Rock. And you go to the Hard Rock. First of all, you're at the Hard Rock Casino. You're not just at the Hard Rock Improv. But even if you were, girls are decked out. Girls are showing everything, whatever style. And I take her out to that after doing years of comedy, going out every night.
Honey, it's not usually hot chicks everywhere.
Usually they don't have teeth. Usually it's in a dive bar and it's just. You're trying to get people on coke to laugh at your jokes. And but I took her to that, so that was what she saw. And I'm also somebody. It's hard for me to go home. I'm not. There's a comic. His name was Kevin Perry, married dude, he had kids with his wife, and he used to tell me, Chris, the trick is do your set and fucking go home. Yeah. And I could never do that. I was a dude who wanted to hang out. Of
course.
I did like 10 years in Florida, my first 10 years in Florida without knowing anybody except for a few people who moved down from, my life up there. So I don't really have a network of friends. Yeah. Now I'm out and have a network of friends and you're bonding because these are people who you've all seen each other bomb. So there's something that forms, you've all experienced this thing. It's like,
it's just like war.
Yeah. It's exactly like going to Vietnam.
We're war heroes.
Yeah, that's what we're heroes. We are. We make everybody happy.
Yeah.
As much happiness as we probably bring more happiness than Vietnam did.
We need to be venerated.
I would like to go on record and say that I personally have brought more happiness to America than the war in Vietnam. And I stand by that. I think you can quote me on that.
Oh, look at me. I can stand by that.
I think I'm...
Sorry. Such a bad joke.
I'll put my stamp on that if that makes you feel better for you.
Yeah, I can stamp. I can still stamp.
It is weird, though. I was talking to another comic last night in the green room, and he was like, yeah, I met a girl when I first moved here, but she was just like not cool with coming second, which is totally fine. It's totally reasonable. But it's like, and especially him, he just moved here like a month before I got here. So he like just moved here for comedy. So like what kind of fucking asshole would I be to move out here, meet a girl, and then let comedy start to take a back seat when the whole reason I moved my life across the country was this. But it's like, I had a girl before I moved out here and we were living together and she was super supportive and would come to shows, but not every show, which I liked, and like, knew I could go out. Nice. The thing is, Florida is different. Florida, my schedule for a long time when I was with her was like an open mic, the busiest week possible is open mic Monday, Wednesday, and then maybe a weekend at the Improv. That's only 4 nights, right? And that's rare. That's rare. It's mostly 2 to 3 nights a week. There's many weeks where it's 1. Yeah, dude. Like really, that's how it was before I was out. Where did you live? That's what? Where? I lived in West Palm. That's how it was. Like
how far up?
For the
I live in Coral Springs, so Miami and West Palm are same drive.
So it was just like downtown, and like and then I got to the point with my comedy where I'm like, dude, I'm not driving an hour to go do a set for people who. Or for no one, or people who aren't listening. It's like, I have shit I want to fucking work on. I'm not going to spend 2 hours just driving to do a really bad show that I gain nothing from. Right. So that's what she was used to. And then we came and visited Austin and I was booked. And like every fucking night we did like 4 nights here, and every night from like basically 7 till like midnight, I was doing shit. And like luckily my brother was here and she hung out with my brother and whatever. But like, she was like, I think she caught a glimpse of it amongst a lot of other stuff going on in our relationship. But like, and then she was like, oh,
this will always trump me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like, and then she was like, not cool with moving here.
Isn't that funny? It's like, I have a close friend, Jessica. It's like best friend, female. And she was the first one to like drop this on me. She's like, comedy is the other woman.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, really, if you really,
it totally was. It was just as bad as having another.
I mean, honestly, comedy is the woman, and the relationship. They're the other woman. Yeah. Really, it's how it becomes eventually.
You're fucking right about that.
Which is like fucked up.
That's how she felt.
It's just how it is, and it's funny because like my ex was a nurse, and all she wanted, she loved being a nurse. all she wanted to do was succeed, and she wants to be, eventually her goal, she wants to be in the Trauma Hawk, the helicopter that flies, to right, like that's what she wants. And there's so many steps to get there. And I remember having conversations with her where I was like, if I told you being with me meant you could never do that, would you want to, like I was trying to like relate to, it's like, I'm never going to, if it means not being with you, like if it came down to an ultimatum of like, you can never do comedy again or this, like, why would I give up the thing that I love the most,
It reminds me of that thing they say, like, who's the actual character, whether it's Bruce Wayne or Batman, who's the real person,
right?
And they say that the real person is Batman, not
Batman.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
the dynamic for me was, so it was a startup company, and that's when I met my wife. Like I met her as I was starting it, and we got pregnant less than a year after meeting. And
she Hispanic?
No,
It's a trap.
no. But from then on, it was, everything was not for me. Like, the building the company. I mean, that was for me. I was doing shit I liked, but you're fucking giving it. It doesn't matter how much you like it. If you're starting a company, like you're giving everything of yourself to it. So it helps, of course, if it's something you want to do, but it doesn't matter. If you're doing it right, you're giving all of yourself to it. And then you have a family. So it's like you also have to give the other 100% to that. And it's like after a while, it's like nothing is for you anymore. So I loved comedy. I'm super empathetic. So like I love hearing people laugh, and I love knowing that I did that and all that. But also the psychology was, I had work, I had home. And when I went home, it was kind of like work. Like I was supposed to do this with the kids. I was supposed to do this with the wife. And then when I had comedy, the third thing was trifecta. And then the other two things became fun. Like work became fun. Like home became even more fun because I had something that was me. So now you're on stage by yourself. You're not even on part of a team.
Right.
It's you. You're writing your own jokes. Nobody's helping you. It's you. I needed something that was for me.
How's it work now with your lady?
Well, we're divorced now.
No. Don't. I thought you had a new one.
Yeah,
though.
I know. I'm just joking.
I was about to say.
No, but when I made that decision, I was with my ex. But no, it's great now. She's young, so she doesn't necessarily. She thinks that now the way her mind works now is how her mind. I keep trying to explain to her, but like,
how old is she?
She's the opposite of me, where I think trajectory, and she's more like in the moment. She's 30. She just turned 31.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to, I don't know. Sometimes I worry because I don't know if she knows what she's getting into.
With you?
Yeah, because she's, I don't think she understands that when she's 40, she's going to be a different person.
Yeah.
And that's nothing that you can really solve for. If you're with somebody, they're going to be a different person. You just kind of keep your fingers crossed. You kind of have to. I mean, if you're two people that are very religious and you're into the same religion, you're both looking at the same star, so you're both kind of going by the same instruction manual. Okay,
sure.
I'm not religious.
Is she?
She doesn't go to church or anything, but
Yeah.
she's Brazilian.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They got the Jesus Christ at the top of their thing.
Yeah.
You're just by default religious.
Yeah.
But we don't have like a structure to both follow yet. So if you got to either be able to create it and stick with it, a structure, and like you respect marriage that much that like no matter what. I think the purpose of being married is like even when things get really fucked up, you're gonna stay together. Because you're definitely going to break up. Like, no matter who you're with, you're going to fucking break up, guaranteed. So marriage is like, hey, no matter how much I hate you, I'm going to stay with you because I think that there's benefits that come with that. And then
There's
it's like
a legal obligation.
But then things get so bad, though, that you're like, fuck all the benefits because you're in the moment.
Right.
And in the moment doesn't have to be that minute. It could be like within a 6-month span, like in the moment, fuck this shit. But then you get past it. And then all the stuff that you've been through is kind of worth it. I don't know. I haven't figured it out, but
I
that's
just don't
about
like
as far
the
as I've
legal
gotten.
obligation to be. So, like, I think if you choose to be with someone and you renew that choice each day, then that's more powerful than some, getting government involved.
It is.
I hate the idea of government involved.
It is so interesting because I've never been married, obviously, but like, I was sitting with a friend of mine when I was in Oklahoma, and he's a younger guy, but he's been married for a couple of years. They've got a kid now, and he was telling me, he was like, dude, there were times where I was like, we're not going to make it. And now I'm like more in love with her than ever. And it is like this weird thing. It's like, forget the government side of it. Cause I'm in agreement. I feel weird about the idea of like what marriage legally is. Right.
And why do they want you to do it?
But it is also this thing where, you know, you'll look at a couple who's been together for 5 years on and off, and you'll be like, they're on and off all the time, whatever. But like a marriage, like it can very well be like that. But you have this thing where it's like, I'm legally binded to you.
I'm stuck.
We have to make this work out. And then it might.
But
You know
what if
what
you're
I
not?
mean?
I mean, legally meaning what? Meaning you can lose money. I mean, what
Right,
if you have a
exactly.
prenup? What if every marriage came with a prenup? Which
But-
I think every marriage should have a prenup. It doesn't have to be I keep everything, but
Yeah.
it's like let's agree right now what's going to happen if we get a divorce.
Yeah.
Because
But I-
why are we going to pretend that that's not possible? You know.
Yeah.
So
I
if,
mean-
if pull that out, strip that out. Hey, I'm curious. How much? And not that I don't like them hearing it. I actually think it's kind of cool if they could hear it. But how much can they hear of that?
The low end.
Very little.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. There's a comedy show going on out
Yeah.
right over here.
Right
So that's
behind the
cool.
wall. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess what the fuck was I gonna say? So you strip out that part, the legally binding part.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I wasn't even saying it in a way of like the league. It's like, oh, we got this law telling
Liability.
us we have to. It's more like it's this cool thing. Like you guys have decided, like, I love you so much that I'm willing to do this whole thing of like marriage. And then it's almost like a safety net where it's like, because it's not like boyfriend, girlfriend, we break up, we're broken up. Like it's like a word, right? Of being like, fuck this, I'm done. And then you can be done. Really. It's like this thing where it's like, it kind of nudges you to be like, maybe work through that. And then you can get out of
Right.
the other side of it. Because there's a lot of relationships that if you felt like that for a month, you would be like, I'm not going to be with this person
Right.
anymore. But there's a lot of marriages where they feel like that for 6 months. And then they
Yeah.
come out of it and they find a way through it. And all of a sudden it's like,
Well,
oh,
you ask how it's going, and we are in kind of a 6 to 12 month lull.
yeah. How long have you guys
Yeah.
been married?
I don't know. I don't know.
I guarantee
I
you
think-
she knows.
I think.
I guarantee you
I
she
think. I
knows.
think October
Like, to the date.
2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but honestly, like the way that we got married, it was like, first of all, she was my nanny after I got divorced.
I
But-
remember her. I've seen her before. I've
Yeah.
seen her around with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's super cool, super beautiful, and I feel a little guilty because like she was my kid's nanny. My son doesn't give a fuck, but that's the thing. Maybe with my daughter, I like care a little bit because first she's like the person, she's theirs.
Uh-huh.
Like the relationship was between them, and like I'm the boss kind of who comes, like. But and then the dynamic suddenly changed. But I mean, she lived with us for years. She lived with us for years before anything. But anyway, yeah, marriage is
So
like the one
interesting.
family member that you chose, the only family member who you chose to
good
be your
point.
family.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's not a legal thing. It's more like now she's my family. Like what am I gonna do? Like cast out a family member? Like
Yeah.
I remember when I got divorced, I was like, I felt like my family was kicking me out of the family. It's fucking bananas,
Mm.
And then so you think also like this. You think, all right, we split up. All right. And then what? A couple of years and we're fuck around with 6-7 million girls, and then
Exactly. Precisely.
And then-
What I have every
Yeah,
pussy
yeah,
in America,
yeah,
North
that-
America,
that
and then,
fucking
and then
torturous
what?
time.
Yeah.
No, but eventually you want to be with somebody, again, and then it's a different fucking package of bullshit, So
Yeah.
it's like, if you're gonna like 80% of somebody,
Yeah.
it's like what marriage is all about. It's like, all right, I know I don't like this much of you, and I'm not a fucking bowl of cherries, You hung out with me for like 3 days. You want to kill me,
Yeah,
So
no,
like,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. So Joel
So
Schumacher.
who the fuck am I? And that's the other thing I think about. Like, who the fuck am I?
I did Joel
Like,
Schumacher's
she's staying
final
with me.
movie, and
I
he
feel
had
lucky.
a perfect observation about men and women. He goes, men, it's very simple. Men look at a woman and go, I want. Binary. Right?
Yeah.
It's just very simple, right? Women look at men, just kind of look them up and down and go, I can work with that.
Yeah.
That's just the genesis of every argument. Every
really
Yeah, that's because
setting
men
yourself
are
up for disappointment.
disgusting and women are beautiful. You know, like a
Yeah.
woman, you're like, God, like I need
From the
that
jump,
right now.
we're set up for being
Women are like,
disappointed.
ugh.
Have you
Like,
ever talked to a
okay.
woman who
Yeah.
is straight and she's like swear she's straight, but then she'll see a woman and she's like beautiful,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like there's just something. Women are beautiful, men are ugly.
They're beautiful. How about when you say a bit and you love it, and then someone like, you know, world famous comic says something either the same thing or something close. Have you had that happen?
I've had things that are like similar, where I have to go, all right, that sucks because
I can't say that ever
I
again.
liked that joke a lot. Yeah, well, even like I used to do a joke about like where I stand with my hand on my hip. It's a real thing. My dad's always made fun of me for it. And then I saw a clip of like Josh Wolf, who I don't know if we'd call him world famous, but he's a very well-known, successful
even know what
comic.
that is.
And he was on stage just like, it seemed like he was just doing a riff about the difference between standing with your hands like this or like this. And it was the exact same thing. That was the first time I experienced it. And I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Can I not do that joke again? I'm very like hyper aware of it though. Like I've been trying to work on this joke about my dad and how he's like sort of liberal. But he was like raised conservative. So he has like weird views and like he'll be like, yeah, gay people should be able to get married, but why do they talk like that? Like that.
Yeah. I heard you say that last night. That had me fucking dying. Actually, I think I laughed at that the hardest out of everything.
And like, and there was another
why
part
do
of
they
it,
talk
like
like
a thing
that?
that he legitimately said. Him and my mom were talking about immigration, and they were talking about how they're like, it's dumb. They don't need a fucking wall. Immigrants are what makes this country great. It's a part of what this country is. And he works construction. He's a contractor. And he was like, and I mean, you'd be shocked at how hard it is to find cheap labor. And I'm like, what? We're so close to you being progressive. But then he always has, so like the end is like, inside of my dad there are two wolves, which is like a meme. And it's like most of it is just like a normal like white wolf, and then the other part is like 20% of him is like a black wolf, but he wonders why it commits 60% of all crime, like that kind of like just this like, you know, bullshit statistic that conservatives use. And I think it's funny. I haven't really been able to figure it out, like whatever. And then and somebody was like, you know, Shane Gillis has a joke about how like it's like when men turn conservative, it's like a werewolf, you know, like getting bit by a werewolf. And I'm like, that's not even fucking close
when
to my
people
joke.
turn conservative?
Well, or like he has I forget, I don't know exactly.
You
Do
mean
you
when
know what it
you're
is?
over
I don't know what the
30. No.
Yeah, exactly. When you turn 30. Well, Shane has a joke too about like how getting into history is just like on like it's like you're about to become conservative.
Yeah, when you learn about the past.
Yeah, so it's like that's it. But he has one similar to it. I've never heard it, but somebody told me about it, where it's like turning into a werewolf, and and one of my buddies told me that, and I was like, that's not even close to my joke. But because it's like, well, wolves, I'm like, no, that's
the
crazy.
werewolf. And you don't want to be called a joke thief.
No, and it's
you know,
weird.
and they'll think it. You can't go out and say, I know someone said something similar, but ready, here comes my like.
Right, dude. I did a
Everyone's gonna
show
think it.
when I first started. I did a show at Laugh In, which is in Fort Myers or something. I just did a guest set. I did a 7-minute guest set, and I did this joke about how I would ask a crowd member how much it would take for him to suck a dick, and then I had material on it. I would crowd work with it. I did that. It murdered. I don't do it anymore, but it murdered that night specifically. It did really well. I forget what my closer was. My closer was something like about probably me liking older women or something. And then the guy who went on after me literally did those exact jokes, but his own version of them. And they were doing really well. But I was like, this is weird. It's weird that he just did my act backwards, basically. Because he went up
after you on the same show.
Right. I mean, I was literally on stage. The host came up, brought him up, and then he did my act backwards. And it was so weird. And then afterwards, he was like, yeah, those are old bits that I used to do. And hearing you do them reminded me of them. So I did them.
So he heard you do them, and then he did it.
So he had already done it.
Fucking
And then
weirdo.
it was so weird. So he did that. And then he did some other stuff. He did some stuff about traffic. He did some stuff about getting, he was an older guy. He did stuff about getting a colonoscopy. And then he did stuff about the Florida heat and about how it makes your balls stick to his legs, right? And then the headliner went up. And then the headliner did his act backwards, like had his own version of how hot it is and his balls getting stuck in traffic and colonoscopy. I was like, what is, and the fucking weird thing about it is all of us did great. It was like, it wasn't like the crowd at any point was like, why are they all doing each other's jokes? It was like, it was the weirdest show I've ever been on. It was so bizarre. But I remember being like pissed. I was like, oh, why would you do that? Why would you do my jokes?
How much would it take?
I did somebody's jokes one time. There's a guy, Colin Bohannon, who's really fucking funny.
I know Colin. Colin's great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking natural born comic. And this was in like year 2 or 1 or something. But I had his whole set memorized because I was analyzing all the comics. I did something with this guy, Nelio Costa. He's the first comic I ever met. We were doing the class together. And I started recording everybody's sets. And I found this thing where it's like laughter per minute, like tool. You hold down the thing when you hear the laughter, and then you get all these stats from it and shit. Crazy. So I started analyzing, like, I got like 100 comic sets and gave them scores and showed all the analysis on it because that's how I am. And where was I going with that? What the fuck was it? What did we just say?
I don't know, but what's your number?
I don't remember. His
number's 10 grand.
Oh. So anyway, no, but that was kind of, no, actually I paused when I said it and I went to a sidetrack because I wanted to tell you guys that. That's how like obsessed about. But anyway, the point is that I knew Colin's set. That's how I knew it that well because I watched videos of him over and over again. And I just went up before him and just did his set.
That's hilarious.
So what did he got left after that?
That's funny. Like an open mic probably, right? Or
no, it was a show that, and he was a host, but he also had a spot on it. And Eric Myers was going to go. He wasn't supposed to have a spot on it, but Eric Myers didn't show up. Of course. Like oftentimes he wouldn't show up on time.
R.I.P. by the way.
Rest in peace, Eric Myers, one of the greatest comics ever to live. But he wouldn't show up on time. He wouldn't show up on time. And that's the only reason I was able to even be on the show. Colin's like, you want to go up? He's like, he needed somebody to fill it. So I went up and I did what I knew he was going to do next.
So funny.
Yeah.
See, that's great. I've done shit like that at like open mics or like small shows. I've done like if my buddy's going after me, I'll do like what I think his opening joke's going to be. I'll do it at the end. Like whatever, like, cause your opening joke is usually something quick to win the crowd over. And so I'll do that and then watch them go up there and not know how to start their set. Because if they're up after me and I close with that joke and then the host goes up for 20 seconds and then they don't have time to go, oh shit, what am I going to do? It's nice. That's fun to do.
I have one joke that I can't say I officially stole it because I asked the guy permission and he said it to me about me on a stage. He was just on stage.
Oh, that's fair.
He was down. He said it to me about me. And, and then I messaged him and I go like, dude, that shit's just so fun. He's never going to use it again because it's about me. And he go, oh, well, maybe he would have. But I messaged him like, hey, can I please use that joke? Like, I just want to open with that joke. And he just replies back. He goes, go ahead. I have legs. So he's a funny guy.
Fucking funny.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. But anyway, yeah. And
wait, what is it?
You go. It's the opening joke, which is what makes it so important. It's so short.
I think I know what it is, and I think it's hilarious.
You know what it is.
Go. I want to know. I want to hear it though.
Well, the way I used to say it, and now I kind of slip into like I know what you're thinking, which is like to me, I don't like to say I know what you're thinking anymore because it's kind of like a young comic thing to do. You know?
It is, unless you make a really apt observation.
Yeah. So it is. Why the fuck does this guy wear shoes?
Hilarious.
And you just shut the fuck up, and then especially if it's a big crowd, it takes a second, and then they just start dying.
That's so
and
good.
They just keep on going because at the beginning people didn't really catch it. And then it just goes through the audience. And
that's not what I thought it was, but I do like that. There's 2 jokes of yours that I love. One of them is I look like if Paul Walker had survived. Classic. So funny. The other one you do, and I'll butcher it, so feel free to correct me, because if you butcher it, it sounds bad. It's the joke about I think you're talking about your daughter, and you're like, you just got, she's dating, whatever. It's like, you just got to be careful of the Browns. They hit their women.
Yeah. And then they beat up on their women in their culture. They think it's okay.
Yeah. In their culture, they think it's okay. And it would just, the air would just
Looking
suck
the way
out
I
of the
look.
room. And it would just get so uncomfortable. And you would sit in it for just long enough where it was so uncomfortable. And then what's the list of people?
You got Chris Brown, Bobby Brown, James Brown, Trent Brown, Josh Brown, Antonio Brown, the Cleveland Browns, all of them.
Yeah. And it's funny because, I thought that joke was so amazing. And then I forget how long ago it was. I was telling somebody about it. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, all the people you list are also brown, though.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. But if you say it in Miami, they're gonna get mad because in Miami they're so uptight and they're looking to see if their friends are laughing, if it's cool or not.
That joke,
it's a hilarious follow up, but people are fucking.
Yeah.
If they knew how I grew up, nobody would have anything to say.
That's a lot of it, especially like people don't know who you are or how you grew up, which is weird. But I guess that's our job, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me, dude. This was fun.
Yeah. Thank you
for doing this.
Thank you. I mean, I thought this was pretty perfect.
Yeah, dude, this is great.
It worked out exactly how it should have.
It was a very pleasant time.
Matt Ross, ladies and gentlemen.
The ROWE Show,
What's
or just ROWE Show.
You want to give your handle in case somebody watches this?
Matt Ross Comic for those tens of you watching.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one day when I become rich and famous,
I feel like you're already kind of rich,
the first one.
Low key, I feel like you already got money.
I own a couple companies.
Yeah.
So that could either be a big problem or a big benefit. Yeah. Lately, it's a big problem. But
you're like, please join the 46,000.
Yeah.
Don't watch my videos, but do follow. And I'm trying to get
Put it this way. I'm not putting all my life into comedy because of the other thing I do. So there's hopefully a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
I'm sure there will be.
What's up, Renee?
And mainly that there's truth in all this, right?
Renee Besson, who does not want anybody to know who he is. He kind of just likes to lurk in the shadows, but he's good enough to be here. My friend for a couple decades, right? On the level. Productions and all sorts.
Yeah.
Thank you,
the guy
guys.
behind the camera.
Guy behind the camera gets no love.
I'm Chris
Thank
Rowe,
you for being in
Comedy
here.
Row. Oh, wait. What's my other thing? ROWE Show?
ROWE Show.
Just ROWE Show?
Yes.
All right. Also ROWE Show.
There you go.
That's the handle. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching the ROWE Show. If you like what you saw today, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to leave a comment. Maybe leave a question. Maybe we might answer it. Share this with your friends. And most importantly, make sure that you're subscribed. Also, you can get more stuff like this at TrueMarketInsiders.io. I'll see you on the next show.